Hello and welcome to GTO Coach and Go. I'm Jim Delleman with Group Travel Odyssey, and I want to thank you for joining us once again today. And now we have new special jazzy music on our countdown. So if you join us and watch the countdown today, you notice that little bit of a change. Before we get started today, I wanted to remind you that if you've not done so yet and you're watching us on YouTube, please make sure you do click the subscribe button that's right down here. You can also ring the bell, and that will give you a notification anytime we have new content on our YouTube channel. Also, make sure to follow us on LinkedIn at Group Travel Odyssey. So today we have another partner that we're going to be featuring in today's episode, Travel Advocates. And Travel Advocates is going to be providing us with information on hotels and a lot of information about what's going on with the group market in the hotel world. So without further ado, I would love to introduce you to Floyd Morris from Travel Advocates. So thank you for joining us, Floyd. How are you today?
Good. Thanks for having me. Doing pretty well.
Excellent. Excellent. As I was saying, you are with Travel Advocates, and what we wanted to do is we want to give our users a little bit of insight on Travel Advocates, what you do, how you make things easier for them when they are booking hotels and stuff. But before we actually do that, what I want to do is very quickly, I'm going to share my screen, and I want to show our users, or just remind our users, where they can find Travel Advocates in our GTO system. So bear with me one second while I share my screen. Okay, so right here, if you are in proposals and you go into quote information, if you click on quote information, you will find that there are options for you to put motor coach information in, your hotel information, including hotel quote special requests. So if you have anything in particular that you would like in a hotel, put that information in here. Then we do feature a couple of partners down here in this section, and Travel Advocates has a button here, and you can request quotes from Travel Advocates just by pushing that button. So when you push that button, it will send all of that information through to Travel Advocates and through to Floyd and his coworkers that are at Travel Advocates. So that's how it basically works in our system. So give us a little information on Travel Advocates, what you all do, how long you've been there, all that fun kind of stuff. So I'll turn it over to you right now, Floyd. Thank you.
Absolutely. So we've been around for 16 years now. We've been in business for quite a while. Robert Miller actually started the company. His former tour operator, knows the ins and outs of the business like nobody else. Jason Wood was also with him to start. He's also worked on property at the hotel level. So we have a really good mix of kind of the hotel side and the group tour operator side, which actually makes us pretty unique and works out great. I've been with the company about 9 years now. My background is as an attorney. So Robert and I actually went to the same law school. So I am our director of contracting, which basically means anytime that there's a hotel contract being signed, I'm the one reviewing it, doing all the redlining and all of that. As far as our focus, we specialize in group travel. We can actually define a group as 5 rooms or more. Which has actually been part of an industry switch, because forever it's been 10 rooms. And with everything that's going on, we're seeing smaller groups travel. So we are becoming more versed and working with hotels on defining groups at a smaller level, which has actually been working out very well for us. We primarily book in the United States and Canada, but we do book internationally. And we book everything from hostels to 5-star all-inclusive resort buyouts. So it's literally, if it's a group that travels, there's a chance we've worked on it. Just today, I've worked with a college sports team, a domestic tour operator, a UK student operator, and a film crew. So it's a little bit of everything.
Well, that's fantastic. And, I think we've got a lot of similarities with backgrounds as far as our companies go, because our company as well was developed by a tour operator. So, having that background and knowing the business and how tour operators function really helps when you are branching out, because it gives you more of an understanding of what their expectations are and how you can fulfill their expectations, and I tell you, one of the greatest things, like you said, is being able to now work with smaller groups. So dealing with groups of 5 rooms or more, that is something that is quite beneficial. And there are a lot of operators out there that have some of these smaller groups, but they don't necessarily have the strong relationships like you guys have in the hotel world, where you can handle groups that small and still get rates, or even to get them to listen to you. So, that's really important. So what would you say, what are the top reasons that people should work with a service provider like Travel Advocates when they're looking for hotels?
Absolutely. So one of the things that you just touched on was that we do have strong relationships. We like to remind operators, we specialize in the lodging side of it. So, the same way you're putting together itineraries and attractions and everything, we're only focused on your lodging. So we do have relationships. We're preferred partners with all of the big brands. We work with boutiques. We work off brand. So that's kind of what we do. So we view ourselves really as just an extension of your team, because there's one of the things we're all facing with the pandemic is limited time, limited resources, and a lot to do. So if I can do more in an hour, it'd be great. If you have one person who has to find the attractions, get the tickets, find the hotels, make sure everyone responded, instead of 2, it's, you're not as efficient. So if you bring us on, one of the things we also remind them is that there's no charge for using us. So literally it is Travel Advocates, please find these rooms. And our job is to go make that happen for you. We do a very good job about qualifying our leads and then making sure that we're coming back with the information that you want. Also, because we are working with so many different types of groups, different types of operators, different times of the year, there's a lot of time that we probably have the information you want already, or we've done a similar search. So you may be looking for January 20 to 24, and we just did January 21 to 25 for a completely different project. So again, it's just trying to save time. I think that's the biggest thing for us. We are an extension of your team. We can save you time. And then what makes Travel Advocates unique is in our contracting model. So normally if you have 5 hotels on a tour, you're signing 5 different hotel contracts. You're reviewing 5 different hotel contracts. You're getting 5 different invoices that you're trying to reconcile. With Travel Advocates, it's a one-stop shop. So all your contracts come from us. It's a boilerplate 3-page contract. You know where everything is. And then on the back end, once everything's checked out, you're getting a 1-page invoice. And basically you let us do kind of the dirty work behind the scenes. So, we'll make sure that the contract has the right terms. We'll make sure that they included your comp policy on the invoice. So we try to streamline it for you so that way you're getting, very basic, to the point. This is the information you requested. Here it is. Here's your contract. Here's your invoice, to try to make it very nice and easy for the operator, because we know you have so many other things on your plate. We just want to try to streamline that portion.
That's fantastic. And I mean, honestly, with the invoicing side of things, my gosh, if they have, multiple hotels, like you were saying, instead of sending out and having 4 or 5 different invoices, to have all of that information on one invoice is a huge time saver for not only the people that are booking, but the people who are managing the trip, and that also their accounting department. When it comes time to do payments for a trip, if you only have to pay 1 invoice instead of paying out 5 invoices, that in itself is an efficiency that they probably never even thought of, So, I mean, that's really fantastic. And, it's one of the things with Group Travel Odyssey that we really stress is the efficiency side of things, and between our team that we have at Group Travel Odyssey and your team that you have at Travel Advocates, it gives our operator users that many more people that are basically working for them, so without us being on, specifically on their staff, we are kind of on their staff because we're taking care of all of this information for them. And so, I mean, that's something really huge for them to remember. And honestly, other than somebody like you that is an attorney, not many of us really do enjoy going through all of those legal contracts page by page and redlining and things like that. So, that to have somebody to handle that portion of things for you, I mean, my gosh, that in itself is worth pushing that Travel Advocates button, because I personally am not the type of person who likes to read through 14 pages of of legal documentation. So thank you for doing that for everybody.
No problem. It's my pleasure. It's yeah, I'd like to say, having that background with the contracts and being an attorney. I mean, I know some operators that they laugh because my hours will at times get a little funny because, if I'm up, I'll review a contract. And so I'll send them stuff at 2:30. Like, don't send it back to me now. Just letting you know this contract's done. Here's where we are. But yeah, no, I enjoy it. I enjoy the back and forth and just making sure that everything's right on the contract, because at the end of the day, we've seen it, especially in the last year, whether it's force majeure clauses or anything like that. If you have the right clauses in place, it really does end up saving you a lot of money.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. For our users that are watching, what do you need, or what would you like to see from an operator when they're requesting a quote or quotes? What kind of information would you like to see from them?
Absolutely. So, I mean, the basics, obviously, where you're going, the dates, how many rooms, the individual room breakdown, single bedded versus double bedded rooms, the occupancy type. If it's a student group, we know you'll need up to quad. An adult group may not need, maybe just single double. And then just sort of the details to make your group special. So does your group need baggage? Does your group need welcome drinks? Are you looking to have a meeting space for any particular reason? And if you have any unique requests within where you're going, we definitely want that too. So, there's one thing to say, I want to go to New York City. There's another thing to say, I want to go to Times Square. There's another thing to say, I want to be in the New York City area. So any of that information, just because as much as we want to pride ourselves on saving you time, if you say, I want New Orleans, and you really want downtown, I don't want to send you airport, because then I've just wasted your time having to review airport. So any little details like that, we basically say, as long as you can get that to us, our rule of thumb is that we can get you a response or multiple responses from different properties within 24 hours for if it's a single trip. If it's a tour where it has multiple dates, it might take a little bit longer, but Jason, especially on our team, and Natalie in our group, they pride themselves on making sure we get you your information as accurately and quickly as we can, because we want to make sure that you can make your decisions, and whether it's pricing up, or we know sometimes operators have to get back to their clients. So we don't want to be a cog in the wheel at all. We want to make sure that we're giving you all the information you need so that you can put the overall package together.
That's fantastic. I mean, and that's one of the things, and we had a question come in asking what is the turnaround time from the time that they request a quote until the time they came back. So, I mean, you just answered that. That's fantastic to know. So within 24 hours, you should have that information for them.
Absolutely. And even with that, it really depends on sort of times where you're going. And by that, I mean, I know Jason on our team, if Jason has a quote before noon, and it's, whether it's a major city, New York City, Orlando, any of the major cities, if he has it before noon, there's a very good chance you're going to get a quote before 5 p.m. that day.
That's fantastic.
Because it's immediately, it's boom, I get it out. And part of our relationships is we are talking to a lot of these people every day. So you literally just replying to an email half the time saying, hey, another group, here are the dates, what can you do? So yes, definitely that. We pride ourselves on making sure that we're getting back that information as fast as we can.
That's great. And turnaround time, I think, for everybody is a huge thing, especially as business is building back up for a lot of operators. They want to make sure that they can turn around to their clients as quickly as possible and get them that information. So that way, they get the business and they get the trips as well. So, I mean, it's really important. It's a great philosophy, and it's a great way for companies to run, is just to, when those requests come through, fill them right then and there, get that information back to people. So let's talk pandemic a little bit.
Yes.
We've all over the past, year and a half seen such tremendous change in the travel industry, in the way that operators are working, the way that suppliers are working, and what kind of changes have you seen in the hotel industry because of the pandemic?
Absolutely.
Such a broad question. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I have a couple. So one, maybe I guess the challenge is just like everybody else in the industry, hotels at times are now understaffed. And where that plays a part is in trying to get the responses, in trying to make sure we get the quotes, in getting updates, in getting contracts from the hotel. Sometimes it's taking a couple extra emails or an extra phone call just to make sure that we get this done. So we definitely have seen that. It's starting to pick back up, which is great. And it, for the most part, hasn't had an impact, but we do see that. And also in terms of making sure that we're communicating with group arrivals, making sure that the front desk and everyone knows what's going on. One of the services that we provide for our guests is, or for our clients, any group that you have checking in that's booked through travel advocates, we do a 24-hour call before you arrive. And that's to make sure the rooms are pre-keyed, to make sure that they have the right rooming list in, to make sure that everything's set so that when your operator arrives, it's a smooth transition. It's a smooth, hey, we're checking in. Here's your keys. Here's all your information. And we know operators do that already. A lot of them do, but it's again just an extra layer of you have somebody else that's doing that on your behalf. As far as the hotel side, when it comes to rates, you're seeing sort of a pendulum shift. Everyone was sort of like, hey, we have to get things on the books right now. You still have some of that, and you're starting to see a little bit of, we think 2022 is going to be good. So let's kind of see how 2022 goes. We are booking 2023 already. I'm already looking in 2024. So I definitely think people are looking at a turnaround and trying to make sure things are on the books, which is great. As far as hotel terms, for the most part, we've done a very good job of being able to keep our standard terms in place. 99% of our groups is 30 days to cancel without penalty, and there's no attrition outside of 30 days. So at 30 days, you send your rooming list, and then whatever you are holding as of that date, then you would have attrition off of that rooming list. If it's a major event or a holiday or something like that, that term may change, but that's what we push for, and most of our groups get that. You do have some hotels that are trying to, I guess, mitigate any sort of losses. So they're either asking for deposits a little bit earlier or maybe pushing the cancellation term further out. And we work with the hotel on that, and then we work with the client on that. So if there's a deposit of, a reasonable amount at 45 days, again, rather than having to deal with, okay, we'll pay the deposit now and then invoice you after check, you're on direct bill, and we'll bill you after checkout, and we can handle the deposit. Again, depends on what it is. If you're doing a full buyout of a hotel that has a $50,000 deposit, a little bit different. But if $200, $500 here, listen, let's just make sure, because again, we want to make it easy for you. So doesn't help our accounting team to have to worry about 2 extra steps. Doesn't help the operator worry about 2 extra steps. So we work on that end. But that's the main thing, is just making sure that the hotels understand this is all still a partnership, and we're all coming out of this together. And so the hotels that have worked with us, we've built great relationships with, and we're actually seeing business increase in 2022 for those hotels because, people are going to travel, and it's about, okay, how can I make sure my passengers are safe? How can I make sure that I'm getting the best deals that I can, and then providing the best experience?
Right. And do you find, I know all the hotels are looking for business and they want the business back. And so, they really are excited about getting groups to return. Are there specific COVID protocols that they've put into place that our operators might need to know about when sending a group or preparing a group to check into a hotel?
So every hotel, just like the rest of the country, every hotel, every state kind of has their own rules. The main shift we've probably seen is with the breakfast, is that you have a lot of hotels who have either gone to a plated or they've gone to a grab and go, just as COVID protocols are dictating. So if your group does need, a full American breakfast or a buffet or something, that's something that definitely we would like to know, because some hotels may not be offering a buffet. And if that's something that's really important to your group, then we want to make sure we're getting you the right property. Otherwise, it's also good to know if you have groups that are either international traveling or traveling from different parts of the country, if there are any questions regarding, does this hotel require masks? Does this hotel require vaccines? That's also stuff that's good to know on our end, again, because we're trying to make sure that we provide the information you need. So if you have a group and you say, look, we can travel, but we can't go to a hotel that's requiring masks, good to know. So that way we can ask the hotels, hey, are you requiring masks indoors? What's your breakfast policy? So any of those questions are also good for us to know. We've done a pretty good job of staying on top of the COVID stuff, especially with our UK operators. So every day we're kind of looking at, hey, what's going on right now, and providing the most up-to-date information there.
Right. And, and that's one of the things I don't care what part of the industry we're in. The protocols are changing constantly, and that's the thing, so many of them are saying right now that, oh, a lot of this is through the end of the year. And that's kind of what their current cutoff point is. But I always like to point out it could potentially expand or extend longer into 2022. But we won't know that yet. So I think flexibility amongst people traveling as well is hopefully going to be there. I know everybody is so excited to get back out on the road and to go do a lot of the things that they did pre-pandemic.
Yes.
But it's going to look a little bit different for a while. And I think as long as people are ready for that, and like you said, when they're requesting, give specifics. If you aren't looking for places that don't have strong protocols, let us know what it is exactly that you need all across the board. And that way, those of us who are working behind the scenes can make sure that your expectations are met with the products that you're getting. So, that's very important. What do you think are some of the biggest misconceptions right now about hotel travel in this time period?
So one of the things I think is, it's amazing. I think people are under the impression right now that nobody's traveling or everyone's traveling at the same time. And we're still kind of in this weird mix where there's a lot of interest to travel. There's a lot of people that are doing the searching and we think we want to travel, and then fill in the blank, whether it's protocols, whether it's rates, and so we deal with that on both sides. Sometimes we're dealing with the hotel saying, listen, I understand that you're getting a lot of requests, but that doesn't mean you have a lot of business yet. So when you're looking at the rate, don't quote a rate based on 10 groups requested this date. It's based on the fact that you have one group on the books. On the flip side, understanding with our tour operators, a lot of people are looking right now. And so definitely, if you have things in place, like I said, we're on 2023. A lot of it is booked already. We're booking on 2024. So the earlier we can have stuff and the earlier that packages are put together, the better it is for everyone, because the hotels are definitely looking for base business. So anything you can provide that's, hey, I have this on the books already, I'm not worried about selling this online or retail, that they love that. And then also for you, once you have everything in place, now you can work on some of the other things. And because we do make sure that the terms are as flexible as possible, sometimes you can book the hotel. We have a couple operators that they know that they're going to need rooms in San Francisco. They know around what time they're going to need rooms in San Francisco. They may not know the actual end client yet because they're putting the package together. So they'll get the rooms done and then kind of work backwards. And we're fine doing that. I think one of the misconceptions that we've had on our end is very generous. We're like, we don't want to waste your time if it's not definitely going to travel. There's no such thing as wasting our. Send it over. Let us work on it. Because again, it helps us anyway. We need to know that information for a number of reasons. So there is no request that's not worth sending over.
Mm-hmm. And I know when you and I were previously talking too, you said that, even if some of these hotels and some of these areas aren't specifically on sale yet, if it's a time when they have a special event that's happening during that time period, they will still go ahead and do the booking because they know that that's going to be a high time for them. And even if they're not generally on sale for that time period, they do make exceptions for time periods that they know are going to be high volume. So, don't think that you're booking too far in advance. You can always ask, and, I'm sure you guys get that a lot where people will say, how far out are you booking? So,
no, I've had a few emails in the last hour that have been, we're not on 2023 yet. I mean, there are some management companies or ownerships or owners that, again, they're kind of waiting to see what 22 looks like. And so they're not quite as aggressive on 23 yet. But sometimes when we get that information or whenever we get that response, our response is always, when are you going to be doing it? Because maybe they're not doing it now, but I want to be the first person in line when they are. So that's it. Like you said, it's definitely never too early to request. And sometimes we will do a request and we can also get the historical. So maybe if you're just in the pricing phase, they don't have their rates for December 23, but these
Right.
were the rates in December 22 if you want to get a ballpark.
Right. Right. And, and I mean, that's one of the things I think that will be helpful for people, is just to kind of keep in mind where you are in a specific year with the rates and stuff, and then kind of trying to, put a little bit of a buffer in if you do need to, if they do need to try to figure out what pricing could potentially be,
Right.
Put that buffer in there and go with it, and just then as soon as things are on sale, you guys let people know. But again, that's another great feature and another great reason why operators should be utilizing you is this is what you do. This is your day in and your day out. You are contacting the hotels. You are having this communication back and forth. So you will be the first people to know when things go on sale because you're always talking to them. Whereas for a lot of our operator users, the hotel is one part of what they're doing with this itinerary. So it may slip through the cracks. They may all of a sudden forget, oh, I need to contact them back and find out what the rates are. Well, you're taking care of that for them. So I think that's, yet another great feature of why people should use travel advocates. So I'm a cheerleader. So, I
appreciate
it. We have a few more minutes before we have to go. And what other information do you think would be helpful to our operator users about contacting travel advocates? And, is there any other information that you would like to share with them that you think would help them contact you?
Of course. So definitely using the GTO website and using that service is great for us because it pushes right through, right into our system. We get the leads right away and we can run with it from there. Please feel free to email us at any time. It's just our first names at traveladvocates.com. So I'd be Floyd at traveladvocates.com. We are happy to, discuss anything with you. Again, we are here as a resource. I think one of the things that makes us unique in a way is that we truly do enjoy talking with our customers and clients on a daily basis. I mean, there are some operators that I literally talk to every day of the year because we're going through things, which is great. We actually love it. I also like the fact that because we have our backgrounds, we can assist. So, for example, I live in Hoboken, which is right across the river from New York City. Well, I had an entire tour that ran for an entire year where I was in charge of picking up and dropping off the Metro cards at the hotel. Yeah. Because I'm here, so I can do stuff like that. We've also taken, the clients on site visits of the DC area if they're going to be doing a lot of booking in that area. So we really do view ourselves as a part of your team and more than just here's the email, here's the quote, here's the check, see you later. Like, we want to have a partnership with you. Because we think it helps everybody. It helps us get to know you, make sure we're getting you the right information. It helps the operator because they truly do feel like this is a part of our team that we can trust and that we can continue working with. I know for a lot of operators, the idea of kind of handing over the control of the hotels or any part of it's like, I don't know if I'm going to do that because this is what I do. And we want to alleviate that fear. You're still booking the rooms. You're still the one submitting the rooming list. Although you get to submit the room list to one email, which I personally think is awesome. Instead of having to remember the emails of just send it to one email and we take care of getting it to the right people. Yeah. But again, it's just we want to make life easier for the operators. And I think we've done a good job of that. And we're just continuing to strive and get better. We're adding, the new technologies with the GTO and our systems. And every day we're trying to make sure that we're making it a little bit easier to get groups booked and groups traveling.
Excellent. Well, that's the greatest thing, I think, with our users is that button, that connection is already there. All they have to do is push that button and they're contacting you. So it's not really requiring any extra work on their part. And actually it's taking some work off of their plate. And like you said, they're still in charge of it. It's not like you're taking over the group. What you're doing is you're just finding out that hotel information. You're working behind the scenes as an extension of their team, as an extension of their staff. And that is hugely beneficial, especially right now when, there are a lot of operators who haven't been able to bring back their entire team yet. And so, work more efficiently by getting the experts involved to help you with your booking. So, Floyd, thank you so much for joining us today. And, again, we want more people to be clicking that button for travel advocates. And
Yes.
also, I think there are a lot of people out there who are diehard fans of yours and are using travel advocates for years and years and years. But for those of you who have not done so, give it a try, because I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with how much easier the whole process can be when booking a hotel. So, Floyd, thank you so much. And to our viewers out there, just a reminder that GTO Coach and Go does happen every Thursday at 1 o'clock. As well as that, this next Tuesday, Joanne is going to be coming back with Convos with Colleagues Tuesday at 2 p.m. right here on YouTube and on LinkedIn. And she's going to be speaking with Three Chicks Hospitality. So make sure you join Joanne as well. Again, being a part of the GTO community gives you access to a lot of our partners and a lot of really wonderful people that are here in this industry to help you out and to help alleviate the pain points of booking group travel. So make sure you contact us with any questions that you have. Make sure to utilize the GTO system and contact travel advocates as well. Thank you all for joining us today, and we hope you have a fantastic day and the rest of your week goes incredibly well. Take care. We'll see you next week.